Welcome, everyone. What if the final red line is crossed tonight, forcing a massive preemptive strike? For years, the world feared the moment when uranium reaches the deadly 90% weapons grade. As inspectors sound the final alarm, the War Cabinet is pushed into a corner with one choice. Tonight, a fleet of stealth fighters will embark on the most dangerous bombing mission in history. Will this daring tactical victory secure peace, or ignite a firestorm across the whole region? Deep underground in the command bunker, the red emergency lights bathe the room in a heavy glow. The final intelligence report arrives, confirming the absolute worst-case scenario. Military analysts warn that the hostile facilities hold enough material for 3 massive bombs. The vital window of opportunity to prevent a catastrophic nuclear race is closing fast. Senior officials stand in deep silence as the heavy burden of survival rests upon their shoulders. All diplomatic channels have failed, leaving military action as the only viable option today. The dreaded Doomsday Scenario is activated with one single, unchangeable, and final command. Sirens begin to wail across highly classified airbases hidden deep within the desert landscape. Ground crews rush through the thick nighttime fog, guiding the deadly war machines out of their concrete vaults. Elite pilots strap into their seats, their faces concealed behind advanced tactical oxygen masks. They understand that tonight's operation demands absolute perfection, or they will not return home. The sleek, radar-evading profiles of the stealth fighters gleam under the dim runway floodlights. Heavy strike aircraft follow closely behind, loaded with the most destructive bunker-busting weapons. Jet engines ignite with a deafening roar, tearing through the quiet tranquility of the midnight air. One by one, the massive warbirds lift off the tarmac, disappearing completely into the dark sky. Inside the bunker, the holographic diorama lights up, tracking the departing fighter squadrons. The logistical nightmare of striking a target 1,500 kilometers away finally begins. This massive armada must navigate through multiple layers of highly contested, hostile airspace. The pilots maintain strict radio silence, relying purely on encrypted digital data networks. Inside the cockpit, the green glow of the heads-up display illuminates the pilots' focused eyes. They fly at extreme low altitudes to avoid detection by the early warning radar systems. The jagged mountain peaks below blur past as the fighters push deeper into enemy territory. Every single second feels like an eternity when a minor error brings instant, tragic doom. Aerial tankers wait hidden in the shadows of the stratosphere, ready for the critical rendezvous. Connecting to the refueling boom in total darkness without radio contact requires supreme skill. Thousands of gallons of aviation fuel flow into the thirsty jets, extending their deadly reach. The strike package seamlessly detaches from the tankers, continuing their relentless eastward push. Meanwhile, specialized electronic warfare aircraft take their positions at the edge of the combat zone. System operators type quickly on their glowing consoles, preparing to blind the enemy defenses. Invisible waves of electromagnetic interference are broadcasted across the entire regional grid. Hostile radar screens suddenly fill with chaotic static, masking the incoming wave of destruction. Commanders in the underground bunkers watch the digital map as the strike force crosses the border. The tension in the air is thick enough to cut with a knife as the final countdown rapidly approaches. The hostile nation remains completely unaware of the devastating storm gathering above their heads. The fortified mountain bases housing the nuclear centrifuges sleep silently under the desert stars. Thick blast doors and layers of solid rock provide a false sense of absolute invulnerability. But modern warfare has evolved, creating weapons specifically designed to shatter these deep tombs. The stealth fighters open their internal weapon bays, exposing the massive laser-guided munitions. Targeting pods lock onto the precise ventilation shafts carved into the desolate mountainside. If you were the commander in this silent bunker, would you risk everything to pull the trigger tonight? The point of no return is finally crossed as the squadron leader authorizes weapons release. Thousands of pounds of explosives detach from the aircraft, entering a deadly free-fall trajectory. Down below, the electronic interference suddenly breaks, triggering the blaring air defense alarms. Radar technicians stare in absolute horror as their screens light up with dozens of hostile contacts. Panic erupts inside the control rooms as officers quickly shout orders to engage the incoming targets. Surface-to-air missile batteries swing into position, desperately searching for a solid radar lock. Deadly missiles launch into the night sky with blinding trails of fire, tearing through the heavy darkness. But the defensive response is scattered, confused by the lingering effects of the electronic attack. The stealth fighters perform aggressive, evasive maneuvers, deploying flares to distract the seekers. Burning decoys light up the clouds like artificial fireworks, creating a deadly dance of survival. While the sky burns with chaotic interceptions, the heavy bunker busters continue their silent dive. These specialized weapons use massive kinetic energy to punch through solid earth and reinforced steel. The first bomb strikes the rocky surface, creating a deep crater without detonating its payload. Moments later, a second bomb follows the exact same path, burrowing deeper into the heavy mountain. This tandem strike method is the only way to reach the buried heart of the nuclear facility. Guards in the subterranean corridors feel a quick vibration just before the final lights flicker. Then, a catastrophic shockwave rips through the concrete tunnels, throwing men violently to the floor. The delayed action fuses detonate the primary charges deep inside the dark enrichment halls. A muffled, terrifying roar echoes from the bowels of the earth, cracking the very foundations. Massive concrete pillars buckle and snap under the extreme pressure, collapsing the ceiling above. Highly advanced gas centrifuges are crushed instantly beneath thousands of tons of falling debris. Thick clouds of pulverized stone and toxic dust billow through the ruined, suffocating corridors. The ground above violently heaves upwards, resembling a massive, localized man-made earthquake. Giant plumes of dark smoke and fire erupt from the ventilation shafts, painting the night sky red. The relentless bombardment continues, as multiple sites across the country suffer the exact same fate. Strategic infrastructure built over 2 decades is reduced to radioactive rubble. The brilliant strike is precise, ensuring maximum destruction of the guarded nuclear assets. In the tactical bunker, analysts watch the satellite feeds confirm the primary impacts. There is no cheering, only a grim realization of the heavy consequences to follow. The squadron leader reports the target destruction over the encrypted channel with a cold voice.
Proceeding to waypoint Charlie. All units hold assigned vectors.
Now comes the most perilous phase of the mission, surviving the angry hornet's nest they just kicked. The entire enemy air defense network is now fully awake and hunting the fleeing aircraft. Fighters push their throttles to the maximum, engaging the afterburners for an escape run. Long-range interceptor missiles streak across the horizon, locking onto the heat signatures ahead. Pilots endure bone-crushing gravitational forces as they bank sharply to break the deadly locks. The electronic warfare planes redouble their jamming efforts to cover the retreating strike package. It is a chaotic, high-speed chase across the darkened desert, where one mistake means certain doom. Despite the incredible technology, the sheer volume of anti-aircraft fire takes a tragic toll. A blinding flash illuminates the sky as an Allied jet takes a direct hit, spiraling downwards. The radio crackles with a brief, static-filled distress call before falling into a haunting silence. There is no time to mourn. The surviving pilots must push forward to reach friendly, safe airspace. They cross the border back into neutral territory, leaving a burning, furious nation behind. The first rays of the morning sun begin to break over the horizon, casting a warm, golden light. Exhausted pilots retract their dark visors, taking a deep, heavy breath of the processed cockpit air. They have executed the impossible mission, but the true cost of this sudden victory is unknown. Back at the airbase, the weary ground crews wait anxiously as the depleted squadrons return. The aircraft touch down on the runway, their gray hulls scorched and heavily scarred by the fierce battle. Inside the subterranean command center, the War Cabinet reviews the damage reports. History will show that the enemy's nuclear ambitions were crippled in one single, brutal night. However, the geopolitical landscape of the entire Middle East has been permanently altered. The targeted nation vows immediate and uncompromising retaliation against the strike. The formidable axis of resistance is fully mobilized, preparing a massive counterstrike. Thousands of ballistic missiles are rolled out of their hidden caves, pointing toward the western skies. The explosions of the bunker busters have faded, replaced by the terrifying drums of global war. This was not the end of the devastating conflict, merely the opening shot of a darker chapter. The morning sun reveals the terrifying scale of the destruction across the mountainous landscape. Satellite images confirm that the fortified bunkers are nothing but smoking ruins. Decades of secretive nuclear research and advanced engineering have been completely erased. In the underground Situation Room, the Israeli War Cabinet watches the reports. There is no feeling of celebration or triumph, only a heavy silence in the room. They successfully eliminated the imminent threat, but awakened a sleeping giant. The supreme leaders of the targeted nation convene an emergency council in town. According to intelligence sources, their fury and desire for revenge are absolute. The order is given to activate every proxy militia across the region. Highly sophisticated missile systems are rolled out from deep mountain caves, ready to launch. Global stock markets crash within minutes as the shocking news of the airstrike finally breaks out. The price of crude oil skyrockets to unprecedented levels, threatening the world economy. Major world powers scramble their diplomatic teams in a desperate bid to contain it. Naval fleets are rapidly repositioned into the Persian Gulf to secure the sea lanes. However, many modern historians argue that this escalation was unavoidable. A nuclear-armed adversary in this volatile region would have changed everything. The preemptive strike effectively eliminated the immediate threat of a Holocaust. But it replaced one existential nightmare with the reality of conventional war. Citizens across the affected nations rush to supermarkets for essential food and water. Air raid sirens become the new normal as the civilians prepare for the incoming storm. The military bases that launched the raid are now bracing for a massive counterattack. Advanced missile defense systems track the skies, scanning the horizon for retaliation. Interceptor batteries are loaded with fresh munitions, ready to protect the cities. The brave pilots who survived the mission are granted no time to rest and recover their strength. They are immediately briefed on the situation and ordered back into their cockpits. The psychological toll of the continuous combat begins to weigh heavily on their minds. The global community remains deeply divided over the legality of the strike. Some nations openly condemn the action as a dangerous violation of sovereignty. Others secretly express profound relief that the nuclear program has been dismantled. As the first barrage of retaliatory missiles is launched, the whole region holds its breath. The night sky is once again illuminated by the trails of supersonic projectiles. The defensive interceptors rise to meet them, creating terrifying explosions above. This high-tech aerial duel represents the devastating reality of modern war. Underground shelters are packed with civilians, listening to the muffled thuds from above. The leadership vows that this conflict will not end until their enemies are fully destroyed. The intricate web of alliances and proxy groups guarantees a very bloody campaign. Future generations will study this moment as the turning point of the present century. The bold strike achieved its tactical objective with unbelievable precision and skill. However, it also unleashed a chaotic sequence of events that no nation can control. As the smoke clears over the devastated mountains, the true gravity of the crisis settles in. The Middle East has permanently crossed the threshold into an unpredictable new era. The brilliant glow of the burning nuclear sites serves as a monument to the cost of survival. Military commanders analyze the battlefield, knowing that the worst is likely yet to come. The tactical brilliance of the stealth fighter squadrons will be heavily debated for many years.
It adds 3 minutes to the transit time.
But the violently shattered peace of the region is a tragedy that will affect millions worldwide. History books will record this fateful night as the dramatic catalyst for the Great Regional War. A masterclass in preemptive military strategy that opened the heavy gates of hell itself. The heavy underground bunkers are fully destroyed, pushing the nuclear threat back by decades. Was this sudden strike a necessary evil, or the catalyst for a massive global war? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel today.